Anita here and welcome to day 4 of the Inktober challenge. Today I thought I would mix it up a little bit. I've got some comments requesting to show my sketching process. So I thought instead of doing the inking today I would show the sketching. Just switch it up just for today. So today I just wanted to play with a specific thing in ink. So I chose a design from my sketchbook that would fit with that idea. As I've mentioned before, I've prepared a lot of different witch sketches in my sketchbooks that just so that I could have been, prepared for the Inktober. When you have to make videos or when you want to make videos, it's better to do the prep beforehand so that it's at least a little bit easier. So now I can just choose whatever I feel like drawing that day. And so today I really wanted to draw this cat witch. To use that effect, I will show it in a bit. And there isn't really that much to my sketching. I start with just basic, bean figure, and I try to position it balanced on the piece of paper so that I know where the highest point is, the lowest point, and then I start from basic shapes and I work towards details. I use the regular gray pencil. The reason why I say gray is because I used to use a blue pencil, but I don't feel like it anymore. Now I feel like a gray pencil. So I use the regular pencil, and I use 2 types of erasers. If I need to have something very detailed, like I just want to erase one little dot, I will use the electric eraser. It's just, you put batteries inside and vibrates and you erase stuff. And because, you don't have to rub it, you can just gently touch the spot and the vibration will do the erasing for you. It's perfect for little details. And then I use a kneadable eraser for bigger areas. And my sketches change, as and here is the effect I was talking about. I really wanted to use the blooming part of ink. I just love it so much. It's so beautiful. But as I was talking about, still about my sketch, I change some things in my sketches. So the initial sketch that I have in my sketchbook is not the same that I put on the paper here. I really wanted to use that background with little ghost cats. This is inspired by Iraville. If you're not familiar with her, you should be. She has a channel on YouTube. I will link it in the description. And I think she made this piece, I think maybe a year ago for Inktober. I'm not sure, but I remember that she made this piece with lots of ghost cats. I think it was a negative painting kind of a thing. But that idea of those cats really, really stuck in my head and I loved it so much. And ever since then, I was looking for an opportunity to use something similar just because it's just such a neat concept. And I figured, what, this time it actually fits with the whole Inktober, with the theme of a cat witch. So I've decided to use a background of just ghosts in the shape of cats. And I love it so much. There are also some details that I've changed in the sketch. Initially, the character had curly hair. This one doesn't have any hair. She had some kind of veil behind her. I changed that. There's some differences in the hat. They're just like, I do these things as I go, and it's always good to be flexible and, change. I will have that actually a bit later, that there is a big difference from my initial sketch that I didn't really count on happening. You will see. You will see what I mean in a bit. So I'm starting to layer the cats, the ghost cats, and they're just basic shapes. I'm not doing it the way Iraville did with negative painting. I'm just kind of differentiating the shade of the ink. I keep wanting to say watercolor. But I'm trying to just get different shades of different value of that ink, just so that there's some kind of differentiation in shape. Different shapes, okay? I want them to stand out a little bit, but they're still in the background, so they can't be too distinct, you know, they're supposed to be ghosts. And so I'm being very careful with how I fill them. I'm not afraid to just go over a certain area twice just to deepen that shade. It's always better if you're not certain and you don't feel like committing, or you're afraid to commit to a certain element or a color or a shade. Always put a lighter layer first. You can always deepen it. This is my foolproof way of trying to just, you know, gain some control over my painting. Sometimes I feel confident to commit to a shade, but sometimes I'm not sure if I want that, you know. And so that's just me. I know some people like to just dive straight deep into the water, and that works fine as well. But this way, you know, I have a bit more control over what's happening. As you can see there, I have put 2 layers on the middle cats because they were a little bit too light. It's also, you know, because I don't have yet so much control over the amount of black ink that I'm picking up. I always think that I'm picking up just a little bit and just sinks into the brush so quickly. It's very, very pigmented. I mean, not in a bad way. It's just, you know, hard for me yet to gain the control. And I feel like it's wasteful just to keep adding water. So I'm trying to work my best here. But the more I'm painting this, the more I'm loving it. I'm still at this point not sure what I'm actually going to do with the dress, because I had a very specific idea about the background. That's why I started from the dress bottom, the hat, and the background, because these were the three elements that I knew exactly what I wanted to do with them. And so that's the mistake. Not really a mistake, but that's the problem I had yesterday, where I felt that the bottom cake was too dark after I put in the background. So I've decided to just commit first to the background and see how I work from there. And then, you know, I had the problem what to do with that hat and dress, which I knew I wanted them to be the same color. But I've decided, you know what, I'm just going to experiment. And because I had that little blooming effect on the skirt and on the bottom of the hat in the shadows, I've decided to use something similar on the dress and on the hat, and create some kind of like a very delicate, well, not really delicate, but not exactly gradient, but just to play a little bit more with that blooming. Just, you know, if I'm already playing with it, let's just play with it. And another big thing that I'm doing, not here exactly, I'm doing it on the dress. I'm actually not used to leaving that, I don't know if you see it, but I left a little sliver of white around the edges of the dress. I've never done that before, and it's just genius. When you're working with this like one color, leaving that little bit of white around is just so useful. I usually go back and do add some white detail with the gel pen in that place. I don't know. In this case, it just seemed right. And so I'm doing the same exact effect on the dress and then on her boots as well. The boots were a little bit problematic just because they were so thin. And then another problem I had, I really didn't know what to do with the fur. I don't know. I mean, it seemed like she should have light fur, but I didn't really know how to go around doing that. So I left it for at the very end. And I have to say that really this whole painting was surprisingly pleasant to paint. I was just experimenting the whole time. For example, I did some shading without blending out the shading. I just started using just pure brush strokes, and I didn't care much about, you know, adding some kind of shading to the features or blending it out. I just kept adding, and it looked so nice. I mean, I used to do that before. I don't know why I stopped. It's so much easier, it's so much faster, and it looks so much more painterly, if you know what I mean. I suppose it just depends on the mood or something. I don't know. I was having fun. That was the most important thing. So, I have to say, it's really an eye-opener working with just black ink, working in one color. Oh, here I'm adding a little bit of a fake splatter. I am not ready yet to add a real splatter, but I'm getting there because I love it so much. Look how much it adds to that little painting, just that little bit of a few dots here and there. One day, one of these days, I'm going to commit to a splatter and I'm gonna be proud of myself. I have really big problems with control. It's hard for me to release that control over something. I really want to be able to control every single thing in my painting. So even doing that blooming effect under the skirt, that's already hard on me. It's just as far as I can get, because you can't exactly tell, where that's going to take you. You have to accept whatever comes out of it. And that's hard for me, really, really hard. Oh yes, I wanted to mention as well that thank you so much, guys, yesterday for the nice response for my kind of a Inktober drama rant. I was really nervous releasing that video just because I'm not used to. I don't really talk about controversial topics in my videos. I try to keep it light, and just because I feel that I don't want to create drama in itself, you know what I mean? And by talking about drama, you're kind of just spreading more of it. That's how at least I feel. So thank you so much for being so understanding and giving me all kinds of explanations about different, disabilities that can prevent people from drawing traditionally. I was really, really stunned. Thank you so much again. I learned a lot, and I feel like like I've expanded my universe a little bit because I'd never even thought about some of these. I don't really want to say disabilities. Just, yeah, you know what I mean. I'm just gonna dig myself into a grave, I swear. So in the meantime, here I'm adding a little bit of a polka dot pattern to the dress, and I really like that bit of a detail. I really wanted to add stripes to the dress, but I feel like there was just too much stripes going on over the past few paintings, so I wanted to have a little bit of fun, and I've added polka dot, and I'm so happy that I did. It looks just amazing. I'm so happy with that painting. You guys know I can be my own worst critic. It just doesn't mean that I hate my paintings, but very rarely there is a painting that I'm so happy with. And most of the time when I'm happy with a painting, it means that I really feel that skill-wise that I've upgraded, that I've done something new, and I feel like my skills are growing, and I really feel like I'm feeling more comfortable with ink. And I'm just so excited for tomorrow already. I hope I can, because I felt like today I was being a bit more loose with the painting. I hope I can, do it again tomorrow. So now we come to the part that it's not exactly that I've messed it up. It's just something that you have to be aware of when you're, changing your sketches. So in my original sketch, I had those eyes, like cat eyes peeking out from under the skirt. And that was the whole idea. There was not actual cats in the background. But when I started adding these eyes here, I hated them. It's not because, they would fit there perhaps in some different design, but in this particular idea, I hated them. So I decided to alter the initial idea. Perhaps I will go back to this one because it's not a bad idea. It's just it didn't fit anymore. So what I did is I actually checked if I could pick up that ink, and I could. Not entirely, but I had to pick up as much as I could because what I wanted to do afterwards is put another layer of black to kind of cover it, because I had that really nice black, pure black ink base under that skirt, so I could have some wiggle room to fix it. But if I didn't pick it up, then that ink would wet that white and mix with it, and it would just all be dark gray and messed up. So what I first had to do was just pick up as much of the white as possible, and then I could come back and kind of try to blend in that ink. I'm going to repeat that because some of you are going to take it the wrong way. I'm not being too hard on myself. I am always prepared to alter my ideas. It's not like I hate it, it's not like it was ugly. It just didn't fit anymore, and so I figured I could do something better with it. I wasn't sure at this point what I wanted to do, but there was something I could have done. So I've decided to just go with the idea of those weird ghost shapes and draw in some legs and paws and tails under the skirt. Like kind of continuation of the cats at the top. So there's just a little bit of I couldn't do it too harsh because I wanted to keep that nice blooming ink effect. But, you know, I just kind of could make a little bit of a shadow going on there. And I just kept adding the color until it was intense enough for my taste. And I'm definitely going to come back to the idea of those eyes poking from under the skirt and inside of the hat. That's where they were also supposed to be. But I'm going to do it because I think it would have worked much better if I had, for example, white ink, because I could have used a thinner brush. There was so much delicate detail in this upper part that with those very sharp, very thick white lines, it just didn't look right anymore. But it would have looked much better if it was just a bit thinner, more, delicate. Because I like that idea. I'm gonna use it someday. But all in all, I am so extremely pleased with this painting. It's definitely my favorite so far. And I'm in love with it. It's just so cute. I'm probably biased because I love cats so much, but that's just everything. I was also so much more loose with the whole ink. I don't know, I had so much more fun, and plus I was listening to another Will Terry podcast while I was working on it, so perhaps that's a good thing for me. Like I've mentioned it yesterday or the day before, I think yesterday. I tend to overthink things. I tend to, pay too much attention to certain things, and then they come out very stiff. And if I just let go, like I've said, problems with control. If I let go of that control, it becomes all much more looser and natural and fun and just whimsical. And I love it. So I should definitely, commit. So here I am at the end of the process. I'm signing the little painting. And the reason why I'm making those last shots is because I am absolutely in love with the way my workspace looks like now, with all the different, black and white mess. It's so nice. I had a little bit of a problem with a buckling of the paper. It's my fault. There was too much water for that washi tape, and I could have just kind of adjusted it. It wasn't that much. And here are the details. I really like the little tiny lines around the cat's eyes and the little splattery effects. I am just very happy. So I hope you guys don't have enough of those paintings yet. And thank you so very, very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!